When you look at the world right now, Bill, what gives you hope?
What makes you hopeful or inspired for where we're headed?
Where do you draw inspiration from, and what makes you hopeful? How are you coping?
What, if any, is that opportunity?
We'd like to wrap with a question that we've been asking in some form in each summit session, and that is, what gives you hope?
I'll start. That's such an excellent question, and probably we don't get asked that very often. I've never experienced anything like this in my entire career. And I'm coping because every day I'm really full of hope. Just the way we've come together as an industry, it's just the most extraordinary experience to be part of.
Some people are optimistic that we'll have better politicians in charge. So that, that'll be interesting.
We have a small team. So when the George Floyd incident first happened, we brought everybody together virtually, of course. And 100% of the team at the Urban League are people of color, mostly African American. And so we just had a moment of just expressing our frustrations, our fears, our pain that most of us have been living with all of our lives. Quite frankly, but it just felt good to just share space with folks, be honest, share our grief, because we were grieving in that moment.
I am hopeful that we turn a corner in the coming months in leadership in this pandemic, and I'm hopeful that the next year brings some light.
We become scientists because we want to find solutions and help the world. Trusting the scientists and trusting the advice they give, trust in that will help people get through this.
Life is getting better. Slowly but surely, we're recognizing how we treat minorities, how we treat women. Slowly but surely, reducing cancer deaths, beginning to understand things like diabetes and Alzheimer's.
I think this opportunity allows us to rethink the model of learning all the way from pre-K through higher education. I think we have an opportunity to actually change things. And so my goal is that we use this to really change the way we think about educating teachers, educating students, and the use of technology.
It's easy to think of work as just something you do to earn a check, but right now it's the thing that drives us. We're in a moment of real change, real opportunity, and having something to really connect with in our work is very powerful.
To me, it's like a research renaissance in a way, where we're all sharing ideas that we've never done before, and seeing the emergence of new technologies that is just going to really accelerate, vaccinology forward in the future.
I mean, for me, it's the youth, the next generation. Being part of the trans community, I'm amazed by this next generation of leaders. They just get it in such a profound way. The next generation of climate activists, the next generation of tech leaders. I feel like this generation, they're inheriting an unprecedented amount of challenges that we have failed to solve and have exacerbated, but they're also, incredibly attuned to it and incredibly motivated to fix it. I think the single biggest thing we can do is figure out how to get them in power sooner. And I think we're seeing that in the political sphere, in the business sphere. So what gives me hope is the next generation.
What was fundamentally surprising to me was the extent to which society has reorganized itself to protect the most vulnerable. And I think that's and kind of this act of generosity that is still ongoing. And that has been kind of very heartening to see unfold and to see happen.
I'm hopeful that that the science-based message is actually cutting through more than we may think it is.
The opportunity I think we have is to redefine what success looks like. And I know that sounds crazy and big, but the reality is we know that most parents in this country actually don't want sort of the rat race, the standardized tests, the, beat everyone else out just so my child can achieve. They want whole human beings that care about the world, have purpose, are happy people. And this is our opportunity to really, as a country, reflect on how we define success, largely on very single measures about how much money you make, to a much fuller, more complete view of success, and then match how we're preparing our kids for that life to that.
I think one of the real challenges is trying to find, I always use the word, trying to find joy in life right now. There are a lot of kind of stressors, and we don't have some of the normal outlets we do where we find happiness. And there isn't always the opportunity to celebrate some of the small wins. So I spend a lot of time trying to make sure that I celebrate the small wins with my family and close friends, and that we do the same thing, whether it's remotely or in some other way, with the people I have the good fortune of working with.
In the setting of COVID, there's a recognition that we all have a role to play. One of my colleagues put it best. When we got into that room, we took off our badges and our name tags and our logos, and we were all one team. It was pretty inspiring to see how we all banded together to help address this need for not only our own individuals or our companies, but really for the nation and for the globe. And that's inspiring. It gives me hope that we will do the right thing, and we will do it in a way that is very collaborative and leverages the ability and skills of everyone that we have available.
I'm going to get a little personal. 2019 was a tough year for us too. In our family, we had a whole bunch of health issues. And so I just look and see the resilience and relentlessness of my wife and the family and friends around her. And that to me is something that I can bring with me, that kind of just the grit, the resilience, the relentless strength and positivity that helped us as a family get through a real challenging situation. Now I feel like I can bring a little bit of what, rubbed off and what I saw her do to my colleagues and peers in the world. So it's pretty personal for me.
6 months ago, a group of people pulled together to raise money for people who were impacted in the city. All of them who were raising money were fighting health challenges in their family, their business going under or struggling, and yet they were totally focused on their community. They were totally focused on trying to help other people. Those examples are every single day. If you look, you can find them, where people are in the midst of their own personal difficulties, finding a way to be a constructive part of their communities. And to me, that's representative of this sort of indomitable human will, like this desire to keep making things better and keep working.
The kids, the young people, like, it just makes me wonder, what can I do? How can I lend my power? How can I lend my platform to really empower these amazing voices that are driving change?
Look, I'm a people person, and you have to be to do a job like mine. And so I get inspired by our team. And, I've never lost sight of the fact that what we do in this company, it's an essential service. I mean, keeping people connected is more important this year than maybe ever before.
Little wins, just celebrating those and trying to take space for those. Even just, I have a 4-year-old, and like he wants to be a toothbrush for Halloween, and it's hilarious, his toothbrush outfit. Toothbrush for Halloween. That's my hope of the day.
That's perfect. Well, I think all parents can relate to that, as can dentists, of course.
There we go.
There are setbacks. The pandemic is a gigantic setback, but progress will continue to take place. So I'm upbeat even about bringing the pandemic to a close.
My hope is that this is a movement and not a moment, and that the conversations and the listening and the deep listening and the necessary changes to the systems continue, and that we don't lose this moment.